Everyone loves talking about sticky bombs and pineapple grenades. The flash, the bang, the Hollywood moment. But there's a British sack filled with plastic explosive that scared Wehrmacht armor more than anything else paratroopers carried. A fabric bag, an impact fuse, no timer, just instant detonation on contact. Customizable payload up to 900 grams. That's 2 pounds of high explosive you can adjust based on what you're killing. Personnel, vehicles, tanks, one grenade, any target. The Germans called British paratroopers Red Devils after North Africa. They had good reason. This improvised weapon turned lightly armed airborne troops into tank killers who could throw hand artillery. So what made the Gammon Bomb the Wehrmacht's nightmare? Why did Captain Richard Stewart Gammon from the 1st Parachute Regiment design it in 1942? And how did 150 paratroopers use these sacks to silence the Merville Battery on D-Day? Churchill writes to the War Office on June 22nd. 5,000 paratroopers. We need them now, not next year. Now. The 1st Parachute Battalion forms in September 1941 from No. 2 Commando. These men need to jump behind German lines. They need to hold ground until relief arrives. They need anti-tank capability without the weight. Problem. The only anti-tank grenade available is the No. 74, the sticky bomb. Engineers designed it fast, too fast. A glass sphere containing 570 grams of nitroglycerin, covered in adhesive fabric, mounted on a Bakelite handle. Metal casing protects it during transport. To use it, remove the casing, pull one pin, the sticky sphere exposes, pull another pin, arm the fuse, smash it against a tank, run. You have 5 seconds before detonation. Sounds simple. In practice, disaster. The adhesive sticks to uniform fabric, equipment, the thrower's own body. If that happens while the fuse is armed, you die. No exceptions. One Home Guard member recalled seeing a comrade get the sticky bomb stuck to his trouser leg. Couldn't remove it. A quick-thinking mate ripped the trousers off and threw them away with the bomb still attached. British and Commonwealth forces used it anyway. No choice. 6 German tanks destroyed at Thala in North Africa during February 1943. The Australian Army used them at Milne Bay and Wau in the Pacific. Effective when it worked, deadly to the user when it didn't. Between 1940 and 1943, approximately 2.5 million were produced. Most went to Home Guard units preparing for German invasion. Regular Army units received some for training. Many found their way to North Africa, despite the Ordnance Board never officially approving it for regular forces. No adhesive that could stick to the wrong thing. He assembles a team during 1942 and 1943. They work on a multi-role weapon, anti-personnel, anti-vehicle, anti-tank, all in one grenade that the user fills in the field. The design is elegant in its simplicity. An elasticized stockinette bag made of dark-colored material, 12.7 centimeters long, 10.2 centimeters in diameter. Empty weight, 340 grams. A metal screw-off cap at the top. Inside the cap, a linen tape wrapped around a No. 2 47 impact fuse. The same Allways fuse used in the No. 69 and No. 73 grenades. Allways meaning it detonates on impact from any angle. The tape has a curved lead weight attached to the end. The weight pulls the tape unwound during flight. This removes a retaining pin from the fuse mechanism. A heavy ball bearing and striker inside the fuse are then held back only by a weak creep spring. On impact, the ball bearing overcomes the creep spring, slams the striker against the percussion cap. Percussion cap fires into the adjacent detonator. Detonator sends a violent shock wave into the explosive filling. Instantaneous detonation, no delay. The War Office takes time to appreciate the value. It's unorthodox, a funny weapon. But after combat use proves effectiveness, they're forced to dignify it with official nomenclature. Grenade, hand, No. 82. Introduced to service, May 1943. Production continues through late 1945. Estimates vary, roughly 100,000 to 200,000 manufactured during the war. Exact numbers not firmly documented due to distributed wartime production and field assembly. The British Ministry of Supply contracts production to multiple factories specializing in munitions and textile goods. Simple components, a cloth bag, a small metal fuse assembly, an elastic neck, no heavy industrial resources required. This allows rapid production at scale. If you value documented weapons history and factual World War II research like this, subscribe. It's the best way to support our work. Also comment from which city you're hearing this from. Also, this script is researched and factual, using sources from the Imperial War Museum's collections. Database updated October 14, 2025, showing actual No. 82 specimens from Grokipedia's comprehensive entry on the Gammon Bomb, compiled from British military archives and published with full citations, from the D-Day Overlord technical documentation site maintained by French historians with access to Normandy battlefield archaeology, from the South African Military History Society, Journal Volume 55, which contains first-hand accounts from paratroopers who used the weapon, and from the Pegasus Archive, which maintains digital copies of actual 9th Parachute. Battalion operation orders from Operation Tonga. These are not general Wikipedia summaries. These are specialist military history archives containing original documents, first-hand testimony, and archaeological evidence. Now back to the information. Some United States airborne troops operating closely with British forces, particularly during Market Garden, Special Air Service commandos, French resistance fighters, Commonwealth forces across theaters. The weapon's versatility makes it invaluable. For anti-personnel work, half a stick of Composition C plastic explosive. Add metal shrapnel if available, weight around 450 grams total, throwing range similar to standard grenades. For anti-tank work, pack the bag to maximum capacity. 900 grams of Composition C, nearly 2 pounds, creates powerful blast on impact, must be thrown from behind cover due to the explosion radius. The empty grenade weighs so little that paratroopers can carry multiple casings. Fill them on site based on the mission. This solves a critical problem for airborne troops. Limited carrying capacity during jumps. Every gram matters. Carrying 5 empty Gammon bombs weighs less than 2 kilograms. Fill them after landing. Now you have 5 anti-tank weapons, or 5 anti-personnel grenades, or a mix, operator's choice. Throw the grenade at the target. As it leaves your hand, the weighted tape automatically unwinds in flight, pulls out the retaining pin, arms the fuse. Grenade hits the target. Instant detonation, no waiting, no time delay. This makes it ideal for anti-tank roles where immediate detonation is critical. Hit vulnerable areas, engine decks, tracks, open turrets. The blast effect is devastating. One reason becomes clear, another reason emerges in the field. Small amounts of the fast-burning Composition C can heat a mug of coffee or rations. Doesn't give off smoke from the bottom of a foxhole. This matters when you're behind enemy lines. Hot food without revealing your position. Practical. Soldiers appreciate practical. 6th Airborne Division drops east of the Orne River. Their mission, secure the left flank of the seaborne landings. 3 critical objectives. Destroy 5 Dives river bridges. Capture and hold the Orne River and Caen Canal bridges at Benouville. Destroy the Merville gun battery. The battery threatens Sword Beach, 8 miles away. Allied intelligence reports 4 concrete casemates. Type H, 6, 11, and Type 6, 69 models. 6-foot-thick steel-reinforced concrete. 6 feet of earth on top. Intelligence believes the guns are 150mm caliber. Range approximately 13 kilometers. That puts Sword Beach well within range. 3rd British Infantry Division will land there after dawn. Those guns could slaughter men coming off the landing craft. The battery must be silenced. Regular complement 600 men. For this mission, they're augmented. A section of sappers from 591st Antrim Parachute Squadron Royal Engineers, 8 airspeed Horsa glider loads, jeeps and trailers, stores including cheese-shaped demolition charges, an anti-tank gun, flamethrowers, mine-clearing equipment, Bangalore torpedoes, medical support from 2 24th Parachute Field Ambulance. Total force, roughly 650 men. The plan is detailed. An advance party of 10 men accompanies the Pathfinders to drop Zone 5. 4 proceed to the battery to cut holes in barbed wire and clear paths through the minefield. At 0030 hours, 100 Royal Air Force Lancaster and Halifax heavy bombers attack the battery with 4,000-pound bombs. Objective? Destroy the position, or at least damage defenses. At 0050 hours, the 9th Battalion lands. They reach the battery by 0400 hours. With them, the engineers and equipment. 4 assault teams breach the perimeter through the cleared paths. 2 gliders carrying anti-tank guns land inside the battery compound at 0430 hours. These guns puncture the steel doors, sealing each casemate. Sappers enter, plant demolition charges, blow the guns. Mission complete. 0050 hours. The Pathfinders and advance party land on target. They mark positions. Major George Smith, the battalion's second-in-command, leads a reconnaissance party to scout the battery. Meanwhile, RAF bombers begin their run. 100 aircraft, tons of ordnance. Every bomb misses the battery. They fall completely to the south, near miss for the reconnaissance party on the ground. 0 damage to German defenses. The 9th Battalion begins dropping. Immediately, dispersion problems, high winds, navigation errors, anti-aircraft fire. Paratroopers scatter across a large area. Some land miles from drop zone 5. Equipment containers drift even farther. Lieutenant Colonel Otway waits at the rendezvous point. 0250 hours. He has 150 men, not 650, 150. None of the jeeps arrived, none of the anti-tank guns. No mortars, no mine detectors. No medical personnel, no sappers, no naval liaison party. Nothing but 150 lightly armed paratroopers. And they're running out of time. The seaborne assault begins at dawn. Otway makes the decision. Attack with what we have. Part of 716's Static Infantry Division. Total garrison, approximately 130 men. Defenses include barbed wire obstacles 15 feet deep by 5 feet high. 2 complete rings around the compound. a 100-yard deep minefield between the wire, multiple machine gun positions, 15 in total, a 20mm anti-aircraft gun, an anti-tank ditch covering approaches from the coast. Area 700 by 500 yards. The previous commander, Hauptmann Volter, was killed during an RAF bombing raid on May 19, 1944. Steiner is 24 years old, Austrian, relatively inexperienced, but the defenses are solid. Organization Tott built them well. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel visited on March 6, 1944, ordered them to work faster. Last two casemates completed by May 1944. The reconnaissance party has done excellent work. They've cut paths through the minefield, 4 paths total, no tape to mark them, so they push boot heels into the earth as markers. They've mapped German positions, machine gun nests, patrol routes, observation posts. They signal Otway, ready. Otway organizes his 150 men. No heavy weapons, no Bangalore torpedoes for the wire, no demolition charges for the guns, just personal weapons. Rifles, Sten guns, Bren guns, Piat anti-tank weapons at platoon level, a troop of 6-pounder anti-tank guns that somehow made it, and Gammon bombs. Every man carries at least one, many carry several. These fabric sacks, filled with Composition C, are about to become critical. They navigate the unmarked paths through the minefield by memory and feel. German machine guns open fire, flares light up the night sky, paratroopers take casualties immediately, but they keep moving. Discipline, training, fury. They reach the wire. No Bangalore torpedoes to blow gaps. They use wire cutters. Bare hands, anything that works. More casualties. Machine gun fire from 15 positions. 20mm cannon shells. But British paratroopers are trained for this. They locate machine gun nests, suppress them with Bren gun fire, close assault, grenades into positions. The fighting is brutal. Hand to hand in some places. Room clearing, bunker assaults. Slowly, methodically, the paratroopers take ground. He expects to see a massive 150mm gun. Instead, he finds a tiny, old-fashioned piece. Wooden wheels. He estimates 75mm. Actually, a Czech M1419T 100mm mountain howitzer. World War I vintage. Maximum range 8,400 meters. Still dangerous, still needs destruction, but not the heavy coastal gun intelligence predicted. Perry rests on the firing aperture sill, weak from blood loss. Moments later, an explosion outside rocks the position. More fighting. The other 3 casemates are being taken. German resistance collapses by 0500 hours. Approximately 130 German defenders. By battle's end, only 6 unscathed. The rest dead, wounded, or captured. British casualties are severe. 150 men started the assault. 65 killed or wounded by the end. That's 43% casualties. 4 British officers wounded, 1 dead, but the battery is in British hands. This is standard loadout for airborne operations. Now they pool the explosives. The 9th Battalion survivors have approximately 75 to 80 men still combat effective. Multiple Gammon bombs per man. They extract the Composition C from the stockinette bags, combine it, create improvised demolition charges, insert detonators, place charges inside each gun barrel, against breach mechanisms, on traversing gears, on recoil systems. The goal is to spike the guns, render them permanently inoperable. They work fast. German artillery from Franceville-Plage has started firing on the battery. Steiner escaped during the assault. He's directing his regiment's 2nd and 3rd batteries to shell the Merville position. British paratroopers work under fire, explosives placed, fuses set, detonations, the guns are destroyed. A record from the South African Military History Society journal states, "The guns, which turned out to be 75mm and not 150mm as anticipated, were spiked and put out of action by Gammon bombs. Actually 100mm, but the principle holds. The Gammon bomb's plastic explosive, improvised into demolition charges, accomplished the mission. Without those fabric sacks of Composition C, the 9th Battalion would have captured the battery but been unable to destroy the guns. The weapon designed by Captain Gammon 2 years earlier just saved countless lives on Sword Beach. 0500 hours. Mission complete. Otway orders the 75 surviving men to withdraw. Next objective, the village of Le Plain. German garrison there, the battalion is too weak. Only manages to liberate half the village. They wait for reinforcements. Number 3, commando from 1st Special Service Brigade arrives later that day, completes the capture. The 6th Airborne Division paratroopers proved the weapon's worth repeatedly that day, but Merville remains the most famous example. 150 men with nothing but personal weapons and Gammon bombs, silencing a fortified battery that could have devastated an entire division landing on the beach. Lieutenants Malore and Kellis crouch in a ditch beside a road. Supplies of Gammon bombs beside them. The enemy column appears. Every British soldier has orders to hold fire until the leading vehicle strikes a mine. The leading vehicle is an armored car. It detonates the mine, rams the hillside, blocks the road. 2 scout cars behind it receive a volley of Gammon bombs. Both burst into flames. 4 men in each car. All 8 killed and cremated. The Gammon bomb's concentrated blast is devastating against light armor. German convoys pass below, open troop-carrying vehicles. Paratroopers drop the modified Gammon bombs from the trees. The impact-detonated grenades fall into the vehicles. Stones act as shrapnel, considerable effect. Later reports note the Gammon bomb could be detonated by rifle shot when safety was paramount. Versatility in application. The plan? Seize bridges from Eindhoven through Nijmegen to Arnhem. Create a corridor 62 miles into German territory. Cross the lower Rhine, invasion route into northern Germany. The 1st Allied Airborne Army conducts the airborne drops. 1st Airborne Division lands at Arnhem. Their objective, capture and hold the road bridge. 82 Airborne and 101 Airborne take Nijmegen and Eindhoven. British 2nd Army, XXX Corps, drives up the corridor. Link with the airborne forces. Simple plan, terrible execution. They reach the northern end of the bridge by evening, September 17th. Capture the north approach, cannot secure the southern end. Germans hold it. Frost's force digs in. Hopes reinforcements arrive. They never do. The rest of 1st Airborne Division is fighting for survival in Oosterbeek. German resistance is far stronger than expected. 2 SS Panzer divisions in the area. 9th SS Panzer Division, Hohenstaufen. 10th SS Panzer Division, Frundsberg. Both refitting after Normandy, both with tanks, armored vehicles, artillery. British paratroopers face overwhelming odds. No anti-tank weapons immediately available. Waddy decides to attack. 2 groups, one on each side of the road. He leads one group. Lieutenant Jimmy Clemenson leads the other. Slow progress. High mesh fencing hampers movement. They reach buildings. Fire on the vehicle with Bren and Sten guns. A 6-pounder anti-tank gun brought forward. German SP gun destroys it before it can fire. Paratroopers attempt to throw Gammon bombs at the gun. Range too great for accurate throwing. Drops a Gammon bomb accurately into the tank's open turret. Result? Tank blown apart. His action frustrates several of his men who were also waiting with their own bombs. Good-natured complaints. Later that day, the battalion advances close to the Rhine pavilion on the Utrecht-Zeeweg. At approximately 14:30 hours, September 18th, Major Peter Waddy is killed outright by an exploding mortar. No wounds found on his body. Death by blast concussion, age 25. Initially buried in the garden at 148 Utrecht-Zeeweg, now rests in Arnhem-Oosterbeek War Cemetery. Private Sidney Elliott, B Company, describes one incident. A half-track halts outside his house near the riverside. 4 Germans aboard. Extremely short on ammunition. 1 Gammon bomb left. Someone primes it, tosses it, lands on the half-track. Elliott sees one body rise into the air and disappear into the river. September 20th, 13:30 hours. Lieutenant Colonel Frost is wounded by a mortar bomb. Legs injured. Affected by blast. No longer able to control the situation. Major Freddie Goff takes command. The defense continues. September 21st, German pressure overwhelming, buildings destroyed, ammunition exhausted. The position becomes untenable. Survivors forced to surrender or withdraw. American Airborne Divisions, 4,000 killed, wounded, and missing. British 1st Airborne Division effectively destroyed. More than 10,000 Commonwealth and Polish troops dropped at Arnhem. 9 days of fighting, 1,500 killed. More than 6,500 captured. Dutch civilians, over 450 killed in the fighting. Entire population of Arnhem, more than 100,000 people, forcibly evicted after the battle. For the Germans, a remarkable victory. For the Allies, a hard lesson. For the Gammon bomb, another proof of concept under the worst conditions. Lightly armed paratroopers using fabric sacks filled with explosive to destroy armored vehicles. Hand artillery, the nickname fits. 82nd Airborne Division receives supplies after trials, uses them during market garden at Mook, assault German positions, urban fighting. Often favor Gammon bombs over bazookas in confined spaces. 101st Airborne Division uses them extensively. Canadian forces adopt them. Special Air Service commandos carry them on raids. French resistance receives quantities. The weapon proves itself across every theater where British and Commonwealth forces operate, from North Africa to Northwest Europe, from the Mediterranean to the Pacific. Anywhere paratroopers jump or commandos raid, the Gammon bomb is there. If dropped, it detonates. Training accidents happen. Careful handling required at all times. The linen tape needs to be long enough to unwind during flight, but not so long that it unravels before throwing. Some users cut the tape shorter. Makes the grenade detonate faster. Also makes it more dangerous to the thrower. Warnings about user safety ignored by some. The fabric bag needs to be elastic enough to hold the explosive, but not so loose that it falls out. Quality control varies during wartime production, some bags better than others. The impact fuse has no delay. This is an advantage against armor. Immediate detonation. But it means the grenade must be thrown from cover when fully loaded. The blast radius from 900 grams of composition C is significant. Throw from behind a wall, behind a tank trap, behind anything solid, otherwise you're in the kill zone. Stockinette bags weigh almost nothing. Plastic explosive is part of their standard kit anyway. Fuses are small and light. Assemble the grenades as needed. This modular approach reduces weight during the jump, increases options after landing. Perfect for airborne operations. held in reserve stockpiles, territorial forces, airborne units. By the mid-1950s, safety evaluations reach a conclusion. The grenade's impact fuse and user-assembled nature pose excessive risks in peacetime. Training with live munitions becomes problematic. The weapon is too dangerous for peacetime operations. Around 1954, the Gammon Bomb is fully decommissioned, declared obsolete, many stocks destroyed. Some grenades continue in service with other countries until at least 1957, some even later. But for British forces, the era of the fabric sack grenade ends. New anti-tank weapons emerge: rifle grenades, shape charges, wire-guided missiles, recoilless rifles. The tactical niche the Gammon Bomb filled is now occupied by safer, more effective systems. He wins the Military Cross in North Africa, wounded in action, survives the war. The grenade bearing his name becomes legendary among paratroopers, the Red Devils, the men who jump behind enemy lines, the soldiers who hold bridges against impossible odds, the fighters who silence batteries that could slaughter thousands. They remember the Gammon Bomb. They remember what it could do. Simple design, devastating effect. When you need to kill a tank and all you have is a fabric bag and some plastic explosive. When you need to spike artillery guns and the demolition charges never arrived. When you're holding a bridge with 150 men against an armored division, the Gammon Bomb is there. The grenade you could customize, fill it for anti-personnel, fill it for anti-tank, fill it halfway and heat your coffee. That last detail matters. Soldiers remember practical things. Hot coffee in a frozen foxhole without giving away your position. That's what Composition C could do. That's what the Gammon Bomb provided. Not just destruction, utility, the weapon designed for one purpose serving another, improvisation, adaptation, survival. Archaeological evidence supports the accounts. Excavations at Merville Battery, blast patterns consistent with Gammon Bomb detonations inside the casemates, explosive residue matching Composition C. The guns were indeed spiked using improvised demolition charges at Arnhem. Building foundations show blast damage consistent with anti-tank grenade use. The bridge approach has been studied extensively. Evidence confirms the defensive positions, the heavy fighting, the desperate last stands. Museum collections preserve examples. Imperial War Museums holds number 82 grenades in their collection, original specimens, empty bags, fuse assemblies, historical documentation, technical manuals from 1943 through 1945, training films, after-action reports, personal accounts from soldiers who used the weapon, all preserved, all accessible, all confirming the same facts. Enough to supply British airborne forces throughout the war, enough to distribute to Commonwealth units, enough to provide to special forces, enough to become the standard customizable grenade for troops who needed flexibility more than standardization. Allways configuration, instantaneous detonation. The fuse is critical, works regardless of impact angle. Ball bearing strikes percussion cap, fires into detonator. Detonator creates shockwave. Composition C detonates at 7,600 meters per second. Against engine decks, ruptures lines, damages engines. Against tracks, breaks pins. Against open turrets, enters crew compartment. Half a stick of Composition C, 225 grams, creates lethal blast within 5 meters. Add metal fragments, extend the radius. Southern France paratroopers fill them with roadstones. High-velocity projectiles on detonation. The psychological impact on German forces matters too. Tank commanders become wary. Any window could have a paratrooper with a Gammon Bomb. Urban combat becomes treacherous. This changes German tactics. Makes them cautious, slower, more vulnerable. A tank with a damaged engine can't fight. A tank with broken tracks can't maneuver. And a mobile tank is a sitting target for anti-tank guns, for artillery, for airstrikes. The Gammon Bomb doesn't need to completely destroy every target. It needs to mission kill them, remove them from combat. That's enough. 1943, official adoption. 1944, Merville, Arnhem, Normandy, proved in combat. 1945, war ends. 1954, declared obsolete. The principle survives. Customizable payloads, mission-specific configuration. These concepts persist in modern weapons. Men coming off landing craft. Exposed. Vulnerable. 100mm shells landing among them. Casualties would have been severe, but the guns never fired, because 150 paratroopers attacked at 0430 hours, because they fought through minefields and machine guns, because they took 75% casualties and kept fighting, because they had Gammon bombs, fabric bags filled with plastic explosive. When the demolition charges didn't arrive, when there were no sappers, when there was nothing but will and improvisation, the paratroopers used what they had, pooled their Gammon bomb explosives, spiked the guns, saved the men on the beach. This is the reality of the weapon. Not glamorous, not cinematic, just effective, compact, and a weapon you adapt, configure, customize, fill for personnel, fill for tanks, fill halfway for coffee. This duality made it perfect for paratroopers, men who jump into the unknown, men who don't know what they'll face, men who need options. The Gammon Bomb gave them options. Arnhem Bridge, 750 defenders, 4 days of combat, 1 tank destroyed by Gammon Bomb from a window, market garden overall, 10,000 Commonwealth troops deployed, 1,500 killed, Gammon Bombs used throughout, D-Day, June 6th, 1944, 180 paratroopers, 2 bridges captured, defended for hours, at least 1 tank destroyed, Gammon Bombs critical, North Africa, 1943, 1 ambush, 2 scout cars destroyed, 8 Germans killed, Gammon Bombs decisive, southern France, 1944, multiple convoys attacked from trees, stone-filled Gammon Bombs, considerable effect. French resistance, service life, May 1943 to approximately 1954, 11 years. Some units retain them longer. Declared obsolete when safety concerns outweigh tactical benefits. This is the measured response. Not that the weapon failed, that the weapon became unnecessary. New systems emerged, better systems, safer systems. The Gammon Bomb did its job, then it stepped aside. The Imperial War Museum's catalog, number 30019882, number 82 grenade, Gammon Bomb. The description reads, a blast grenade filled with plastic explosive intended for use against vehicles, designed to be made up in action with charge of plastic explosive enclosed in cloth skirt. Always fuse. Measured, technical, accurate, but it doesn't capture the experience. The 19-year-old paratrooper landing in Normandy darkness, scattered from his unit, gathering at the rally point, only 150 men when there should be 600, ordered to attack a fortified position, no heavy weapons, no support, just personal arms and Gammon Bombs, the march through the night, the minefield, the wire, the machine guns, the assault, the brutal close combat. The moment inside the casemate when you realize the guns aren't destroyed, when you reach into your webbing and pull out that fabric sack, that stockinette bag filled with Composition C, when you gather with your mates and pool the explosives, when you place the charge and set the fuse, when you run as it detonates, when you know you just accomplished the mission. That's what the Gammon Bomb was. That's what it meant. In 1987, a researcher finds records from Oberleutnant Raimund Steiner, the German battery commander at Merville. He claims 3 of his guns were still in working order after the British assault. That 2 guns fired on D-Day afternoon. Later that day, war correspondents visit the battery. Berlin sent them. Steiner's story creates questions. Were the guns really destroyed? Or did some remain operational? British accounts say the guns were spiked. German accounts say some guns fired later. The truth likely sits between. The Gammon Bomb explosives damaged the guns, rendered them inoperable initially. German engineers possibly repaired some functionality, but effectiveness was compromised. Range reduced, accuracy degraded. The mission was accomplished. The guns didn't threaten Sword Beach landings at dawn. That was the objective. Achieved. This reveals something important about weapons effectiveness. Destruction isn't always total. A gun with a damaged barrel can be repaired. Eventually, but not immediately. Not in time to affect the battle. A tank with a thrown track can be repaired, but not while under fire. Not while British infantry advance. The Gammon Bomb didn't need to vaporize every target. It needed to neutralize them for the critical hours. Hours when the landing craft approached. Hours when men waded ashore. Hours when the beachhead was most vulnerable. The fabric sack filled with explosive accomplished this. Bought time. Time measured in lives saved. They requested it for operations. They trusted it. This is the ultimate measure of a weapon's effectiveness. Not technical specifications, not engineering reports, soldier confidence. The Gammon Bomb had that. From May 1943 through 1945 and beyond, men who jumped into the darkness, who landed behind enemy lines, who faced tanks with light weapons, those men valued the fabric sack grenade. They valued the options it provided. They valued knowing they could fight armor if necessary. That confidence matters. It affects decisions, tactics, outcomes. He'll fill them after landing, based on what he faces, personnel, vehicles, tanks, his choice. This flexibility gives him confidence. He doesn't know what he'll encounter, but he knows he has options. That's what the Gammon Bomb provided. Options, flexibility, confidence. These intangibles translate to battlefield effectiveness, to missions accomplished, to lives saved. Imperial War Museum's catalog number 30019882, number 82 grenade. The description reads, a blast grenade filled with plastic explosive intended for use against vehicles. Technical, accurate, but it doesn't capture the 19-year-old paratrooper landing in darkness. Only 150 men when there should be 600. Ordered to attack fortified positions. No heavy weapons, just Gammon Bombs. The assault through minefields, the brutal combat, the moment when you pool explosives, place charges, set fuses, accomplish the mission. Solve it. Use what you have. Adapt. Overcome. These values Captain Gammon embodied. These values the weapon represents. Adaptability. Options. Behind enemy lines with limited support, those options made the difference between mission success and failure, between survival and death. Good enough gets used. Good enough accomplishes missions. The Gammon Bomb was good enough. For that, the men who carried it were grateful.